Okay, this is number 18 in section 7.4. What we want to do is we want to find the exact values of sine, cosine, and tangent for 15 degrees. What happens is 15 degrees obviously is not on the trig bit sheet. So if we have this sheet right here, we don't have a 15 degrees. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to use a sum and distance formula. Usually these problems will always have an odd number. Okay, that should give you a clue right away. If there's an odd number, I'm going to have something where it's going to be the difference of 45 degrees minus something else. So let's say, so we have 15 degrees. I'm going to say this is 45 degrees minus 30 degrees. Okay. So the key, we'll talk about this why 45 degrees is so important. But you always want to use something with 45. You're going to have 45 minus 30 in this case. Let's look at, if I have, let's say this is number 16 now, and it says minus 105. Again, I'm going to use 45. So I'm going to say it's 45 degrees minus what? So 105 minus 45 would be 150. Okay. That's the first thing I would do on these problems. Again, I always want to set it up as something as 45 minus something where they would equal each other. That is what I must do first. Okay. So now let's continue number 18 here. Okay, so I'm going to say that 15 degrees again is 45 minus 30. Now I'm going to find the sine, cosine, and tangent. I'm going to find sine of 45 minus 30. Now, when I do that, I'm now going to use the trig bits, the addition identities right here. Again, I'm going to use this right here. So I'm just going to use this. This is basically plug and chug now. So I have sine A minus B. So it's going to be sine A cosine B minus cosine A sine B. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and write that down here now. I have sine A cosine B, so sine 45 cosine 30, so that equals, I'm sorry, minus sine 30 cosine 45. Okay, those are all degrees right there. Sorry, I didn't put degree symbols. Okay, do you see why we picked 45 now? That is very critical. Do you see how we picked 45? Because that is something we know the answer to. Sine of 45 degrees, that's sine of pi over 4. So sine of pi over 4 is a square root of 2 over 2. Cosine of 30 is a square root of 3 over 2. Minus, and then we have here sine of 30 is 1/2. And cosine of 45 is a square root of 2 over 2. Let me make sure though. Sine of 30, yeah, it's 1/2. Okay. Okay, and then we would have here, let's multiply these together. Square root of 2 times the square root of 3 is the square root of 6 over 4 minus square root of 2 over 4. And we can combine it because they have the same denominator. It would be square root of 6 minus the square root of 2 over 4. That is an exact answer. So again, the first key thing we notice here is we always pick something, again, if it's an odd number here, or especially with a 5 at the end, pick something that says 45 minus that. That is what I would do every time, 45 minus that. And you can see what happens is when we do 45 minus that, and we use the plug and chug, we come up with numbers that we know exist on that trig bit sheet, and we get an answer, although it looks a little ugly, that is an exact answer that we can do. Let's go ahead and do this just for cosine and tangent. Actually, I'm not going to do it for cosine. Cosine, again, just use the plug and chug. So for cosine, it would be, if we want to set that one up, cosine 45 minus 30 would be Let me just look at the identities here again. It would be cosine 45, cosine 30, plus sine 45, sine 30. Again, all I'm doing is just using that identity, just plugging and chugging, and I will get an answer that probably looks something similar to this one up there. But there will probably be a plus sign in there. So you can see again, that's what, it's not too difficult. You just got to be able to set them up correctly. Again, using that 45 degrees. Let's also do tangent, just so that we've done all three here. So, tangent of 45 minus 30. Okay, and then we'll use, again, just use the trig identity, the formulas here, the addition identities. It would just be equals tangent 45 minus, oh, I'm sorry, that's a minus, minus tangent 30 over 1 plus tangent 45 tangent 30. And that would be, and then we would want to solve for that. So let's go ahead and do that. Tangent 45 is 1, I believe. Yep, tangent 45 is 1. Minus tangent 30, which is square root of 3 over 3. And then we would have 1 plus tangent 45, again, which is 1, and the square root of 3 over 3. So we would have 1 times the square root of 3 over 3. So our answer would be 1 minus the square root of 3 over 3 over 1 plus the square root of 3 over 3. Okay, and let's go ahead and multiply everything here by 3, so it looks a little nicer. Okay, this is probably the hardest part of the problem here, just getting rid of that denominator. We're going to have 3 minus the square root of 3 over 3 plus the square root of 3. Okay, now we want to do the conjugates because, again, we don't like the denominator. So we're going to rationalize the denominator by doing 3 minus the square root of 3 over 3 plus, this, whoops, 3 minus, also 3 minus the square root of 3. So we're multiplying by the conjugate, because then we would have the difference of 2 squares on the bottom. So we would have, on the bottom, it would be 9 minus, here, let's do the top first. So it would be 9 minus 6 square root of 3 minus 3. I just FOILed that out. Okay, and this is a difference of 2 squares, so this is 3 squared minus the square root of 3 squared. And then, so that would be, the top would be 6 minus 6 radical of 3 over 9 minus 3, which is 6. I can divide everything by 6, and this is the answer. Wow. Okay, so tangent, of course, you can see it's a little bit uglier there. So you got to be able to rationalize the denominator correctly. Okay, so this one, I mean, you can see it's not hard to set it all up. So again, it's not hard to set it all up and get to this step. Ooh, that was just the uglier part. We just had to get rid of everything, rationalize, do all this funky junk, and get the answer. Okay, so the key step here was that you had to do the conjugate because you can't have a square root on the bottom. And as you can see, after we did the conjugate, you got such a much cleaner answer there. 1 minus the square root of 3 was the actual answer.